Welcome back to Tales of National Oddity. Tonight we're stepping into the kind of Oregon fog that swallows headlights whole, the kind that makes even your own breath sound far away, because somewhere inside, something walks, something tall, something pale, something that never touches the ground. They call it the fog walker. On the Oregon coast, fog isn't just weather, it's a landscape, a world of its own. You can stand 5 feet from another person and lose them in a heartbeat. You can hear a voice that feels feet away when it's actually miles. Fog stretches distance. It twists sound, hides things that we're already hiding. Fishermen tell the first stories, not the kind that they laugh through between beers, the ones spoken quiet behind closed doors, with the door locked. It starts with footsteps, not yours. A crew from Newport swore it began on a night so fog-heavy the waves looked like shifting shadows. They were bringing a boat into harbor when one man, he was up on the bow, said he saw a person walking along the breakwater. Not unusual except for one detail. The breakwater wasn't there. High tide had swallowed it an hour earlier. But the figure kept walking, smooth, steady, tall enough that even through a wall of fog, they could see the silhouette stretch high above the surf. They flashed their lights, and the figure didn't turn, didn't react, didn't even cast a shadow. And when the fog thinned for half a second, the breakwater glistened with seawater, but had no footprints, just wet stone and nothing else. The man on the bow retired 2 weeks later and never talked about it again. But the strangest story came from inland. A lone hiker on the Cape Pertua trails. He was experienced, prepared, confident, right up until the mist rolled in, fast, silent, as a held breath. He tried to stay on the path, but the fog muffled everything. The trees, the birds, even the crunch of his own boots. He said he felt watched, not followed but watched, as if something tall was standing just behind the mist curtain, pacing him, step for step. And that's when he heard it. A soft sound, not quite footsteps, more like cloth brushing against the fog. He lifted his headlamp, and a beam caught a pale shape, long, human-shaped but wrong. Legs too long, arms too stiff and still, face just a blur of white. And the thing, the fog walker, it didn't walk toward him. It walked across, straight through the ravine where there was nothing but empty air. He watched it pass from one patch of fog to the next, never falling, never sinking, never touching the ground at all. He ran until the fog vanished, and when he looked back there were no footprints. Not his, not the fog walker's. The trail behind him was smooth, as if nothing had moved through it for years. One more story that I found very interesting. A driver was heading down Highway 101 after sunset. The fog was so thick, the high beams only lit up a white wall. He slowed down to a crawl, every instinct telling him to turn back. And then the passenger side sensor beeped. Something close, too close. He squinted out the window, and a tall figure glided alongside the car, keeping perfect pace. Not running, not walking, just drifting. Long hands, trailing inches from the door, a face pressed softly towards the glass. Featureless, except for two hollow, dark spots, enough to swallow light. The fog thinned for a fraction of a second, and the figure suddenly stood in the middle of the road. The driver slammed the brakes, the car skidded, and when it stopped, nothing. No figure, no footprints, not even tire marks. He checked the dash cam later. The camera recorded the entire drive, except for 4 minutes and 20 seconds of static, right when the fog walker appeared. So if you're ever on the Oregon coast and the fog rolls in thicker than it should, listen carefully. If you hear a soft brushing sound, something like cloth turning in slow motion, don't call out, don't wave a light, don't look too hard into the white, because if the fog walker notices you, your footprints might be the next thing to disappear. Thanks for joining us tonight. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment of any mysteries you'd like us to cover in the future.